Frances's proteges were ne'er-do-wells like myself. Many have gone on to great success in many fields, and it's my privilege to, as we approach the end of our time together here, to introduce someone who considered Frances a great mentor in her life. Mable Elmore is the MLA for Vancouver Kensington.
Thank you so much, Kevin. And I first met Frances similar to Morgan in taking the women's history class at women's studies at Langara. And I was struck by her very generous spirit, and through taking that class at Langara along with Patty Moore and Janice Browning and Dorothy Kidd, it opened my eyes to the world of activism and the pursuit of social justice and the meaning of women's liberation. And Frances really embodied what it meant to be not just a radical feminist, but a radical lesbian feminist, and pursuing liberation, which was quite something. It opened my eyes, it transformed my world, and it really provided a path for me to go forward and make a difference in the world. And with Frances, I was, when I attended her class, I was very shy, very quiet, and didn't want to say a word, but I always felt very comfortable with her. And I think when I first met her, I loved Frances. And she had a very special place for me. And when I started getting involved with the women's movement in Vancouver, and I found myself running for elected office in Vancouver Kensington as an MLA, everybody told me that I wasn't going to win, I was the underdog, and that running as the candidate, I could not run as an open lesbian of color because there had never been an open lesbian of color elected in BC or Canada. And so I pondered this, and I had a conversation with Frances back and forth, and it was, there was never an option to not be out. The purpose was not just to be elected and to represent that office. The purpose was to make a change, to make a difference for people, for women, and to fight against discrimination, and to walk along the path for liberation for all people. So it was never any question. And the media were quite interested that I was elected and got a lot of support from the immigrant community, even in the Catholic Church. But I was elected, and interestingly, I was also lesbian baited in my first election, in my second election, but it never took root. And one of the things that when I think about Frances and what a mentor she meant to me, and I've heard it reflected in so many stories shared here, is that I feel that Frances not just supported me and was a mentor and inspiration, but she really charted the way in terms of when I think of Frances and what's the way forward for our society to pursue social justice. It really is to continue along that radical feminist perspective of genuine liberation, and that's what Frances imbued in me, and that's what I see. And when I think of her and what she means, she's in my heart, and I will continue along that journey that Frances has laid out. I want to share one story of it's not overtly political, but it was before I was elected. I was single at the time, so a group of carload of lesbians of color, First Nations lesbians, we decided we're all single. let's go for a good time on the Sunshine Coast. There happened to be a lesbian dance. And we're all single, so we're like, yeah, that's where we're going to go for a good time. So we went to Roberts Creek. Margaret was there. And it was the whole room full of white women, but we were all there and ready for a good time, up for it. So I go up to Frances and I say, Frances, you know, I'm single, and can you, maybe introduce to me some single lesbians or point them out, a lot of couples here. And she looks at me just very matter of fact, and she says, Mabel, what does that have to do with anything? If you see someone you like, strike up a conversation, have a dance, and if you're lucky, take her home. And so I was a little bit taken aback, but I thought, wow, that's Frances, and that's some good advice. So we had a great time at the dance, and just reflecting, it's such a profound message around that was previously shared about Frances wanting us to know that we are loved, and that moving forward and changing the world and fulfilling our potential around how special each of us are and how we all deserve to be treated and valued in our society, that it's through genuine liberation. And I'll be holding that in my heart, and Frances will be continuing to light that way. So thank you very much. I love you, Frances. We all do. She was such a blessing in my life, and with love to Marguerite and all of you, friends. And may we continue on our paths for social justice and liberation, my friends.